One of the biggest rivalries, one of the best rivalries in not only the sport we love of college football, but all sports in general. Oklahoma and Texas, the Red River Shootout. Yeah, you heard that right. We're not changing the name for any reason. It's the Red River Shootout. It's at the fair, and it's typically a crazy affair between these two teams, and there is no love lost between Oklahoma and Texas. These two sides do not like each other. They do not love each other. They maybe respect each other every now and then. But, Blaine, I'm going to start off with you. John Mateer or not, this one ought to be a freaking brawl, brother.
I mean, yeah, well, let's hope it's with John Mateer because we don't get to see him in this game. This is going to absolutely suck for college football in general. And right now, I mean, coming off that, you look at plus 3.5 Oklahoma. So that makes me think Vegas thinks John Mateer is not playing.
Yeah.
I think Oklahoma would be a dog in this game after the performance we just saw from Texas if John Mateer was playing. So if you know some inside information that I don't, please tell me now, and I will take Oklahoma plus 3.5, and I'll put the rent on it. Big thing right now I'm looking at when it comes to this matchup, not only the quarterback play, is, which team can turn around and run the football.
Yeah.
Because that's been the big bugaboo, and we'll get into the Arch Manning conversation a little bit later. I mean, who would have thought right now we were sitting here and saying that Texas right now is anemic at running the football? It's the same thing with Oklahoma. So which one of those are going to get first? It's going to be interesting to see if Hawkins Jr. does play, how they approach the run game on the Oklahoma side. And on the Texas side, Arch Manning could be a difference in this game, but you're going to have to find ways to help him, make it easier him on Sark. Not only that, but give him time. And the got absolutely murdered against Florida. It's going to be a hell of a game. Plus 3.5 Oklahoma, over under sitting at 42.5.
David Cohn, former Michigan quarterback. I mean, to Blaine's point, I'm looking here on the season leaders list. Obviously, passing for Texas, Arch is going to be first. But I don't think it's a great sign where he's also your leading rusher with 160 yards on 43 carries and 5 touchdowns. And to Blaine's point, he was getting teed off on against Florida. You can sit here and he's not perfect. He missed some open guys. But when you're having to run for your life and fear for your life the minute that ball is snapped, it makes it tough to operate in a Steve Sarkisian offense. And, oh, by the way, Oklahoma's defense may be better than Florida's.
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh, well, it gets a little bit easier. No. And they've had a bye week. They just played Kent State, which is Swedish for bye week. And so now they're rested and healthy. And this one means a lot. And now that Texas, there's blood in the water, Coney. Oklahoma smells blood in the water, regardless of Mateer's status.
Yes.
Texas has 2 losses after getting dropped by Florida. I mean, bro, will we see the turnaround? Will it happen this week for Texas's offense?
Well, from a strategic standpoint, Oklahoma might be without John Mateer, but Texas isn't going to find that out until the day of, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're Oklahoma, you're not going to reveal that information. So really, Texas's defense has to prepare for 2 different quarterbacks. Now, they do a lot of similar things in terms of the run game, but still, you're going to have to prepare for 2 different guys, regardless if John Mateer can go or not. Look, it's hard to get a good sample size from Oklahoma beating Kent State with Hawkins Jr., and he did play a year ago when Jackson Arnold got benched, so there's a little bit of a sample size there. But yeah, I agree with you guys on the Texas rushing attack. Would they rush for 52 yards or something against Florida's defense? You're not going to win a lot of games in this league rushing for 50 yards, and there's a team who I know can run the football, and that's Michigan. And I saw Oklahoma stifle that run game and say, we're going to make the young quarterback in Bryce Underwood beat us. I wonder how much of that we're going to see with Arch Manning. And look, like I said after the loss to Florida, Arch Manning has all the physical tools, throwing comebacks to the field, whole shots to the boundaries. He can use his legs. Like the physical talent is there. He still has that Manning DNA. It's about processing the game. I want to see Steve Sarkisian dial up some plays for him that lean into what his skill sets are best at doing. I still think Texas is going to be in this football game no matter who plays at quarterback for Oklahoma. It's going to be a great addition of the Red River Shootout. But man, you got to be feeling confident if you're Oklahoma right now.
And, again, trying to do this without knowing who's going to be at quarterback kind of muddies the water somewhat. But I thought, when you look at Texas's defense, I don't think they played bad against Florida, but they obviously didn't bring their A game like the one we've seen against Ohio State, like what we've seen here in the recent past, the tackling in the open field, and then kind of getting beat on the outside and vertically down the field. You look at this wide receiver group that Oklahoma has. And again, I know the quarterback situation's fluid. We'll find out more about that. But you got Deion Burks. You got Satania. We'll find out about the poor guy that ran into the daggum wall last week, which is tough. Keontae, who is a big playmaker for them. But you're starting to see a little bit of a crack in Texas defensively. And if you're Oklahoma and you're Ben Arbuckle here, I think there's some movement that you could get where you don't just have to line up and say, hey, maybe we need to be a little bit more vanilla, or maybe we need to let them make the first mistake. I mean, you can go out there and kind of get it against these guys a little bit. And that was short, quick outside. That was the one-on-one, the jump balls, the back shoulders. I know that Oklahoma doesn't have a Dallas Wilson per se, but they got some guys that can go do it.
Well, yeah, at the end of the day, can you win between the tackles? I mean, that's what's going to matter in this game, especially if Hawkins Jr. plays in this football game.
Yeah.
He's not going to be able to line back and throw it 40 times and beat Texas. And trust me, I know Texas somewhat didn't look great in the secondary against Florida, but they have guys back there. And if anything Texas can do most of the time is they can cover, right? The big thing to me is Florida just lined up and just whipped Texas's ass up front. I mean, I'm watching Bob run and not get touched until he's 4 yards.
Yeah, but I mean, Florida's offensive line's way better than
extremely good. So that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. If you're Oklahoma, how are you going to approach this game? Because you're not going to be able to just line it up and run the football at Texas after what Florida. You're not Florida's offensive line. So it gets really dicey right now if you're an Oklahoma play caller on the offense, because there's no way you can throw Hawkins out there and throw it 30 times. There's going to be a lot of quarterback design stuff. I mean, the quarterback, I will say this. The quarterback run play for Oklahoma has been good this year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if there's ever a bright spot when it comes to the running game, like John Mateer in the quarterback run game has been good. So you're going to have to do that against Texas. Get Hawkins Jr. design runs, a lot of RPOs, because he's not going to be able to do a 5-step drop and beat Texas.
Well, to that point, David, one thing that as a defensive guy used to kind of try and nullify maybe an advantage that we have up front, or at least lessen it, is a lot of that side-to-side motion, that jet motion, that's built into power read, that jet motion that's built into now split zone. Well, they'll motion the guy and they'll bluff him sometimes. I'm wondering how, and Arbuckle's got it in the bag. And, whether it's Hawkins or Mateer, if you're struggling, especially on the interior of the offensive line, that side-to-side movement can create some gaps. That's why zone run was invented. I swear to God that zone run was invented because somebody was getting their ass beat, just man-on-man base blocking, doing your powers, doing your counters, things like that. And they're like, well, what if we had a play that could hit multiple spaces and deep down is designed to cut back? Mm-hmm. Is the side-to-side pre-snap motion and outside zone maybe a great play here? Jet sweep, power read, things like that, to maybe kind of get to the perimeter and give yourself a better chance.
Yeah, well, very few people in the country are better than Steve Sarkisian at a lot of that pre-snap motion and shifts that you're talking about. And let's remember this too, man. Both those losses for Texas came in true road games, and what Matt Patricia was dialing up in that opener for the Buckeyes, nasty NFL defensive material there. And then the same thing with at Florida yesterday. So at least this one will be a neutral site game. Texas will have equal representation in the stadium. And, Oklahoma, we haven't seen a true road test. This will be the closest that we've seen is the neutral site for Red River. I wonder how much that's going to play into the offensive coordinator play calls when you talk about this motion and pre-snap read. It's one of the few additions of the neutral site games that I actually like when it comes to this Red River one. But yeah, I mean, look, Florida put together their perfect offensive performance, and it sucks for Texas fans that it happened to be against your defense, because if you do throw your A game, Jake, you said they didn't throw their A game. If they did throw their A game and they play against Florida's offense the way that LSU's defense did, they win the football game 21-10, and they're sitting here with only one loss in the season opener, and we can say, well, Arch Manning didn't play perfect, but he had 300 yards and they just went on the road and beat Florida. Unfortunately, that wasn't for the case, and now you're going to have to get ready for Oklahoma.
Well, and you bring up a good point, and something else too that I think is going to be interesting to watch is these offensive lines have struggled at times to pass protect. I mean, look at what Florida did to Texas from a sack standpoint, from a pressure standpoint, from a hurry standpoint, and getting Arch off his spot, which it obviously puts any play caller in a tough spot. But Steve Sarkisian has so many route combinations that develop down the field that just need some time. Right, just give them a little bit of time. Whether that's converted wheels, whether that's kind of your late switch down the field, or what we called the higher level rubs, that's called something else, somewhere else. But if you don't have time for those things to work out, at what point do you have to make the decision as a play caller and say, look, we're going to have to shorten up this passing game. We're going to have to lean more into the screen game, whether that's now, whether that's bubbles, whether that's slips, whether that's tight ends, whether that's tunnels, whether it's mid screens, whatever. At what point do you say, listen, we can't just keep I can't keep assuming we're going to have time for this to develop down the field for us to take our shots. And still having said that, Texas had a couple shots down the field that they missed. Well, why did they miss them? Because somebody was hitting Arch Manning by the time that ball was getting released.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to do that, like everything's set up from Steve Sarkisian from a running standpoint. Like when we've said this, like Sark wants to run the football.
Yeah.
Like that's what he wants to do. It sets up his entire offense. All right, and now like it just blows my mind. I know they lost so much. Even the talent that you returned, you should be better in this up front on both sides of the ball. And at this point now, it's going to be almost the same thing that Oklahoma is going to have to do. Like you're going to have to find the quarterback run game. Like both of these quarterbacks are going to have to a lot of design runs in this football game, because right now you just can't turn around and hand the ball off and get consistent yardage. Like which team can come in and stay in 2nd and 5?
Yeah.
2nd and 6.
Yeah.
3rd and 2. 3rd and 3. Not take sacks. Stay on schedule. And at the end of the day, if you think Florida's defense was bad, what they did to you, Brent Venables out here throwing 7 different kinds of smoke, brother. I promise you that. Arch, you thought that was bad, right? They're like ninjas. Oklahoma's just like ninjas. They appear. They're here, yeah. And then they're gone, right? And next thing you know, you're punting.
Well, and like Florida didn't like you. That's the thing, because they were playing you on that day. Oklahoma just hates you like you hate them. So like the anger level, the viciousness, the violence, the vitriol that these two sides have for each other. I would not be shocked if we got a couple targetings. I would not be shocked if we got a couple personal fouls. And what I'm interested to see is what type of moxie does Arch Manning have?
Yeah.
What type of dog in him does he have after a 3-2 start, 0-1 in the SEC? Some people are whispering, Quinn, come back. Come back, Quinn. Come save us again, Quinn.
You'd have to pick Quinn off a stretcher.
Oh, yeah, no. After the Florida game, yeah, he'd be a Jackson Pollock painting at this point. But no, I just don't think Arch is going to take it laying down, man. But, like, this is football. This isn't basketball. Yeah. I can't go out there and win the game by myself. Like, I need help, and I don't know if they can protect them. I don't know if they can run the ball. And your point, Blaine, everything that Sark does is built off the run game, just like Lane, just like Drink, just like 90%. And the one guy whose offense really isn't as much, it's Ben Arbuckle at Oklahoma. That's about as, and I'm not saying he doesn't want to run the ball, but it's not as predicated on, here's what we got to do on the ground game to open up everything else we do. So to me, maybe that's a little bit of an out for Oklahoma.
Well, even if Texas is able to establish that ground game like they did against the Buckeyes, they had twice as many rushing yards on the road than the Buckeyes did. That's where the turnovers come in. Because, again, another thing that happened in both of those true road losses that Texas has had so far is they lost the turnover battle. And so even if you're able to run the ball, are you going to get an Arch Manning interception or a strip sack fumble or something that really gives Oklahoma an advantage?
Well, it just feels like the penalties are going to be worth double in this game. Just because it's going to be hard, I think, offense. Like that holding that gets you into 1st and 20 might as well be 1st and 40, man. Or that false start that gets you into 1st and 15, you might as well be 1st and 30, just because of the talent level on these defenses. And we're going to be talking about this game all week. We've got tons of previews coming out. Obviously, we got our rankings, got our predictions. Make sure You are locked into Crain and Company. It is a monster college football week. Anything else there, guys, that we need to be made aware of as we get ready for the Red River Shootout, 2:30 p.m. this Saturday on ABC? Y'all got anything else?
Man, I can't wait. I'm interested to know how they're going to play this John Mateer news, right? I mean, they're going to keep this as close to the vest as possible, right?
Yeah, you got a better chance of being able to go in and talk to the president right now than finding out whether John Mateer is going to play on Saturday. But
quit playing at neutral sites. Play home and home.
I don't hate that, but I think there's a couple exceptions. And maybe we'll get into that this week a little bit. On Crain and Company. But make sure you're locked in. Make sure you're sub. Check out all our previews, all the recaps, everything as we get ready for another great weekend of college football. Be safe out there. Enjoy it.